Good morning and welcome back to Week 12 college football. Let's get it going. Let's talk some action. Cheers, top of the morning. If you are getting your Saturday kicked off in the right direction, sipping on some Starbucks, a little home brew, a little espresso roast, but if you got something stronger in your cup, gearing up for an exciting slate of college football action, I don't blame you, okay? I was supposed to be at the Notre Dame Pitt game today, but things come up and couldn't really find anybody to go with, and unfortunately, this is great football this time of year. So it is what it is, but they will be rocking there in game day. We will have an official bet, best bet from that game in Pitt, and we'll break down all of the games. There's going to be a longer video because, guys, this is an awesome card. There's a lot of big-time ball games that we're going to be discussing. So let's get right into it, all right? If you're not a member or subscribed to the channel, it's completely free, all right? Hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. Follow me on X, all that good stuff. And let's talk some football here as we do look at the first game here on Outlier. And if you aren't using Outlier, you are at a betting disadvantage, okay? Simply put, I am an affiliate with them, but even if I wasn't, I still would be using it. And this is where you can get a 7-day free trial. Links down below. Do not overpay for juice. Always make the best bet possible. Props, multi-sport, Outlier, 7-day free trial. Like I said, grab it in the description, okay? First game, and the game, I think that you would say the marquee game of that 12 o'clock hour. If we did have a little bit more implication, probably not, but hey, still got a game day bid, and that's something to kind of talk about. And I will get into this as a best bet. I'm just coming out with it. Notre Dame minus 12.5. I think this is a name your own price, name your own point total for the Fighting Irish. I thought about the team total. I thought about the full game total. I like them all, but I still think that if Notre Dame plays a lick of defense here, it's going to be an ugly, ugly blowout. I think that Notre Dame does best what Pitt does the worst, okay? And I think that does open the door for a blowout. You know, it will be maybe a close first quarter, a little slow start, a little chilly, a little nip in the air on the road. But this is a business trip. It's win or go home. And I think that if you look at the postseason implications and the comments from Pat Narduzzi about ACC, and he doesn't care if Notre Dame scores 100, you know, I think Marcus Freeman has displayed the chip on his shoulder mentality, has been really effective. And we've cashed a lot of tickets back into Fighting Irish this year against the spread. And I don't think that one will succeed, especially with the record for Notre Dame, as they are, if they are more than a touchdown favorite. They do exceedingly well. Okay, so here they are laying minus 12.5. I would play this up to 14. I just want to get involved because there is an avenue where, you know, it gets ugly and Notre Dame just runs out the clock, and we may see, you know, them fail to get over, I think, the 33.5, 34.5 team total. But still, even if that does happen, I don't see Pitt getting into the 20s here in this game. Looking at Notre Dame's past performance, they do not give up touchdowns, okay? There's a couple duds there on the schedule, and once that defense and Chris Ash settled in, this has been a completely different club, a matured CJ Carr that leads the nation, top 5, I believe, in deep balls, which is a tool that Notre Dame has not had in prior years. And I'm going to come on out with it, okay? This time last year, Notre Dame was, I think, 30-1 with the same record to win the college football playoff, okay? Here they are. I think they're the 3rd or 4th best odds on favorite at 10-1. And I know a lot of that is the schedule, but if you look at the playoff bracket that's forecasted right now, it will be a tough road to hoe. But I think that this is a way better team, and they still have not had their offensive line right. All 5 pieces in sync on the field at the same time. So very excited to see the next, in the way that the next couple weeks and how this one does segue into the postseason. So give me the Fighting Irish minus 12.5 in a blowout against the Pitt Panthers. Next game, Michigan and Northwestern. Another great noon kick that I do like the dog, 10.5 for the Wildcats. Justice Hayes will be inactive for this game. It's going to be cold. It's going to be kind of that game before the game, if you will. Not the look ahead, not the true look ahead, but still, the Wolverines firmly have their eyes set on making the postseason with a 10-2 bid, beating the Buckeyes. We'll see if that happens for another year in Ann Arbor, where the game will be held. But won't be this week. I know Ohio State has UCLA. This isn't the look-ahead week. That will be next week, but I still like the Wildcats here in the points. I think we get a little bit of a closer game than people lead on to believe, but Michigan's starting to look a little bit better. So the Big Ten is the Big Ten. I know that the strength of schedule, strength of record isn't really, quite frankly, all that impressive, and I think that does work both ways, right? It's not just the big juggernauts at the top that are kind of setting the bar. I think that the Big Ten as a whole, okay, with the exception of Ohio State, is a little bit lackluster, okay, and I'm not fully on the IU bandwagon yet, and I think that was on firm display last week against Penn State and all of their turmoil, okay, but do lean towards Northwestern and the points, no official play. South Carolina, all right, the LaNorris Sellers auction, if you will, okay? We'll see kind of what happens with him if he kind of opens that door for the highest bidder with any NIL discussion in the postseason, what he chooses to do. We'll see that discussion play out, but Gamecocks were once 19.5-point dogs here in this game. I like South Carolina. That would be my lean, and also I do favor the over here in this spot. We talk about the Heisman candidacy. Do have a little futures play there on the Aggies quarterback. We'll see kind of he has a big game. South Carolina, though, in these spots have played some good defense, okay? Looking back at some of these games, I just worry about this being a white towel kind of performance, okay? Looking at kind of Shane Beamer, getting his guys ready to go, maybe in the first half, and then maybe this just turns into a bloodbath shootout. We'll see, okay? But they have been kind of held to 14 by Ole Miss, 22 by Bama, and 7, obviously, Oklahoma, a very vaulted defense, 10 to LSU, losing 4 straight. It's just kind of where I stack up. If Mike Elko and company bring their defense to this game, Gamecocks score less than 23, and if you do like the point spread here, this is where you look at the 18 points, 20 points, just so taking into consideration. Might have a little bit of a bad number here, as I could see this game getting into the 60s. If we wanted to make that argument, I do like the over more than laying it with A&M here in this spot, okay? Going down the board a little bit, let's talk about the next game. Wisconsin and IU, all right? I know this is kind of the game after the game where Indiana's season almost went down by the wayside. And it would have been very interesting to see Indiana lose. I know the Big Ten implications wouldn't really have mattered too much because they had wins over Oregon. But all things considered, they lose against Penn State last week. There's a huge shakeup, okay, that we do have. And I think that's kind of where I'm at, right? How good is the Big Ten, okay? That's just where I'm at. I know a lot of you guys watching are from the Midwest, myself included. It's not Big Ten hate, but it's just kind of, I want to know, like, if they're really that good, I want to know. And I really don't think that anything that could happen during the regular season is going to give us a data point that says, okay, the Big Ten's the best conference in college football. They're clearly not. The SEC would definitely get that nod, but outside of Ohio State, and even with Ohio State, right? Who have they beaten? Who have they played? What have they done for me lately? Texas, they're kind of making some noise. But if you watch that and rewatch that game against Texas, watch that game and tell me who was the better team. I think it was just some coaching moves on the road, young quarterbacks, and that game could have went either way. And if Texas would have had that victory, that's going to be a really different conversation we're having here for the playoffs right now in present day. Okay, but the reason why I'm talking about Indiana here is because you can get a pretty cheap price on Wisconsin over 6.5. Okay, that's been kind of a fun bet as of recent. Luke Fickell, he's all in. They're gonna just dump the kitchen sink out today, trying to put up any points. I think that's been established that he gets another year there in Madison. But for the Badgers, over 6.5 team total definitely did catch my eye. A little bit of a fun bet, okay? South Florida and Navy, intriguing game. Almost made my card. The over has been fun, taken with South Florida. Very profitable. And the Bulls here going against the midshipmen after the Notre Dame Fighting Irish tore one into them and sunk that ship last week. But we get 62.5 in a very intriguing team total for South Florida, okay? Love Byron Brown, love that offense, and I think that's something where you look into South Florida's team total going over. A little fishy, but I still like the Bulls there in that spot. That would be a lean as well. And these guys will be leans and official plays. At the end of the video, I will recap the official plays for transparency's sake. Those are the bets that I'm rolling with for today's card. Arizona and Cincinnati. This is one that we have to talk about. I do like the Bearcats here in this spot. If you can find a flat 6, that is a good play for me. Came very close to making my card, especially after what we've seen within the recent games. Arizona beating Kansas 24-20, and then also that blowout where Cincinnati went on the road. Now they come home where they do play better at home. Utah 45-14. It's very hard to beat Utah on the road there. Okay, and I think this is a get-right game where Cincinnati kind of comes back into it. Love their offense. Total is warranted at 56.5, so I won't touch it. And I do think that Cincinnati gets this one done. Another great leg if you do want to take them in a money line. If you want to tease college football, I don't recommend it, but that's just another one where I do favor quite a bit. All right, North Texas and UAB. This is one where I'd love to get on the over here. 70s a lot, though, but I do think this one gets way out of control. We're talking 40s to 30s. I do lean any North Texas game going over, especially going against UAB where they really don't have any strengths. Definitely see that game going over into the 70s. Oklahoma and the Crimson Tide. Possibly the most intriguing game of the day. Won't say the best game because I think that will fall into the Georgia Texas category for me and my money, but the Sooners 3:30 kick, we'll talk about that. Alabama, they're very impressive at home, and I think that the one thing about the Crimson Tide is they do have a one-dimensional offense. I think that you look at this will be an official play for me. 46 points is what we can find. I am taking the under because I do have a lot of confidence with that Oklahoma defense, and in a game played in the trenches, the way that Alabama wants to play offense, okay? If Oklahoma can reduce the plays over the top, I'm just not quite frankly sold on Alabama's quarterback. I just, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, and all we're hearing is, oh, they're going to take Ty Simpson #1 overall. Geez, I mean, save me. Just put me out of my misery. But anyways, I digress on NFL side of things, especially when we're talking Browns. But this is where I like the Alabama Crimson Tide here in this game. 6.5, but the best bet, we're going to take under 46, Sooners and Alabama. That is one of my favorite plays of the day. I think we get a low one, and even if it's 23-20, we still cash a ticket. So that's kind of how I see the game going. So a little bit of a edge we do get with the under, as I would have this game, like I said, handicapped 42-43. So with that 3 points of variance, this is definitely going to be a plus play for me. Okay, moving down the board a little bit. Virginia Duke, we talked about that a little bit. I do like the Blue Devils. I'm not going to lay the 3.5. If you can find this under a 3, I would kind of favor Duke, but outside of that, no play. Michigan State, Penn State, probably would take the 7.5 there with the Spartans. Quarterback change there that we will have in East Lansing, so that'll be a fun one to watch unravel. Okay, and then moving down the board a little bit, the next official play, UCF, Texas Tech, starting off the 3:30 window. This is where we're going to have a play on the Red Raiders, okay? Big 12, 9-1, looking to go 11-1 on the year. Actually 12-1 if they do win that Big 12 championship. But the one thing about Texas Tech, since they had that one hiccup, and you're allowed one in this format, they have their quarterback back healthy. UCF, they're playing bad at a bad time of the year, and I think that Texas Tech really puts their foot down on the gas pedal. Lower total, though, 48.5. So looking at this implied odds, this is kind of suggesting that UCF does not get into the 20s. And that's kind of how I see this game playing out. So give me Texas Tech minus 22.5. I was able to get on FanDuel at a minus 118 price. A little better of a number, so we do get a cash and not a push if it falls on 23. But I think Texas Tech gets this one done with margin, okay? Iowa and USC, a little weather impacting this game out there on the West Coast. The Trojans, kind of a sneaky team this year, but the Iowa Hawkeyes in a different kind of Kirk Ferentz offense where, they have this transfer in from South Dakota, and he could play some ball, okay? They can put points up on the board, and it's going to be interesting to see how the weather impacts this game. Too many question marks. This one is one where I don't mind USC minus 6.5, and I don't mind the under, but it is just kind of in the back of my head. Lincoln Riley at home, different kind of offense. It would not shock me if this was a shootout, kind of a sneaky play. So despite my numbers favoring USC and the under, USC and the under, I kind of personally lean towards and gravitate towards Iowa and the over, but we're going to stay away from that. I know that those don't correlate, but that's why I'm passing on this game, because if this was on a neutral field and there was no weather, we were in a dome, the numbers are completely different. So with that variance, I'm just not going to make a coin flip, a judgment call in that direction, okay? Tennessee and New Mexico, worth talking about, because I think that Josh Heupel, I think that he will run up the score on New Mexico. He's kind of a jerk when it comes to that kind of stuff. And yes, I do like the 40.5, but I think the Tennessee team total getting 50 points is kind of attractive. I think that they really do put it on the Aggies here in this spot. So that's kind of a bet that I did lean towards. No official play. North Carolina and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Going to have a snail's pace here in this game, and 38.5. If this total was in the 40s, I would be on the under, but 38.5, not going to get involved. But I do have a small lean towards the under and North Carolina with the points, okay? Going down the board a little bit more, let's talk Lane Kiffin and possibly his future home there in Gainesville. All right. Another game where I think that it transcends the football conversation, okay? Talk about Ole Miss minus 11. You can find the best number out there right now. For me, guys, I don't think that the Rebels kind of have a letdown spot here, okay? They are at home, and I think it's going to be kind of a Lane Kiffin game where I think he's going to put it on Florida, and if he gets up late, he's going to keep putting it on because, you know, he's no unfamiliar face when it comes to social media and what's going around on the internet, and he's had the conversations, the agents have, he's been contacted by the Gators for the opening next season. And what better way to kind of just, you know, add a couple, zeros or what have you to his negotiations there. If he's just saying, hey, we beat you guys, you know, by 30 last year, you need me, make him a little bit more desperate, open up the checkbooks a little bit deeper. And I think this is kind of where Ole Miss does roll here. So I do like the Rebels laying the points here in this spot. Okay. I actually kind of like an alternate there in that game. If you want to get a little fancy, take an Ole Miss like minus 2.5, 23.5. I think they really do have a shot to just put it on Florida here in this game. Okay, moving down the board a little bit. One thing that I do want to mention, UCLA and Ohio State, just like we talked about Michigan, the game before the letdown game before the game, okay? The Bruins, 33.5 here, night game in the shoe. For me, this is going to go a couple different ways. UCLA is going to just kind of have that momentum exhaustion, and Ohio State's going to win this game 52-7, but it's a fishy total. All right, 46.5 with a spread of 33.5. You know, that implied odds and probability and the projection, that the implied projection within these the spread and the total kind of leaves a lot to be desired here, because essentially what we're looking at is a very lopsided game. And despite the Buckeyes at home, like I said, one of these games is going to be a lot closer than we think. It's either going to be this week or it's going to be next week. But I do think that the Buckeyes here in this spot have a very strong likelihood of keeping the Bruins under 2 touchdowns. The team total potentially going under. I do favor that. Also, I do think that Ohio State really hasn't had that game. We're used to them basically scoring in these kinds of games into the 40s. Looking back, Minnesota at 42, but before that, Illinois 34, Wisconsin 34, Penn State 38, Purdue 34. You know, so that's just kind of where we haven't seen those, 50-14 games by the Buckeyes that we're used to with all these Big Ten tune-up games they have before Michigan. Once they get out of their non-conference schedule, they can pretty much put it on cruise control, especially with the talent they have this year on both sides of the ball. Okay, but I think this one potentially could be an over spot. I think 46.5 might be a little bit too low, but I think the Buckeyes really do put it on them there here in this spot. All right, next official play, and yeah, we're going big game hunting, and I usually kind of stay away from these big games, but here we're looking at Texas and Georgia. And yeah, Texas has been playing better. This is their Super Bowl as they look to go 8-2. If Texas and Oklahoma win today, we have some chaos in the playoffs, okay? But for me, guys, in this spot, I like the Georgia Bulldogs here, minus 6.5. Another great teaser leg here in college football. There's a lot of, I am going to have a little home run play where I take 6 points and have 8 legs of a teaser just for fun. But there are a lot of games that we have some key numbers to go through in big time games that I think that I have a pretty good feel on. Okay, and Georgia here, I did lay 6 earlier on in the week, so Georgia minus 6 is one of my best bets. I think Georgia is kind of not showing their teeth yet. Okay, I think they're a lot better than the tape shows, and all things considered, I just don't fully trust the Texas offense and defense. Okay, we saw the game against Mississippi State. Shouldn't even be in this conversation. Okay, So I do like the Georgia Bulldogs here, -6. Probably my favorite play of the day. I know it's just kind of big game hunting, and you're looking at this, and it has that playoff feel, and there's going to be probably the biggest handle of the day on this game between the Longhorns and the Bulldogs, and I think this is a lopsided game. I personally have this number in a double-digit manner, and I think that's kind of where I would have Georgia. -10.5 is my number, so I'm taking the Bulldogs here -6. That is my best bet, okay? Next, interesting matchup, Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State. Potentially the wrong team is favored. I think that's kind of where I stack up. Jacksonville State at home, 6-3. If you do use that transitive property within college football, which you're not supposed to, this game should be more closer to a pick 'em. I don't like Jacksonville State getting points at home. It's a fishy game, but I do think Jacksonville State's a better team. The number kind of scares me a little bit, so I passed on this one as well. All right, and then obviously the last one that we're going to talk about, Boise and San Diego. This is an interesting game. For me, I think San Diego State, I think Boise's at a bad crossroads in their season. San Diego State -2.5 is another strong lean, okay? So I'll leave you all with that. That is the breakdown of all the games of interest for me. We'll recap those picks real quickly, all right? And we have 4 best bets for you guys and a lot of leans along the way, okay? But the 4 best bets of the day. And guys, as we get out of here, good luck out there. Let's cash some tickets. Looking for a strong day. If you have not subscribed to YouTube channel and followed me on X, please do so now. That's all I ask for these free picks and my breakdowns is that just, say what's up and make sure you guys are subscribed with that notification bell turned on. But we're going Notre Dame -12.5, taking Texas Tech -22.5 on FanDuel at a -118 number, Georgia -6, and we took the Bama Oklahoma under 46 as my final best bet. So like I said, a little big game hunting. You don't usually get that out of me. I usually have a lot of smaller scale games, handle games, but I think as we get into this card, a lot of bad numbers. So those are my 4 best bets. We'll see what happens. Looking for a 4-0. That would be a very nice way to kind of cap off the college football weekend where we had a midweek win and then the Tigers of Clemson last night kind of lucking out, if you will. But hey, either if they lost a game, we still won with the 2.5. So that is the number. And yeah, so we'll enjoy this. Have a day out there, and we'll see you guys all in the next video breaking down the NFL action here on Sunday. Cheers.